Let's unmask the scandals of Scream 7. Greetings, it's Ciara Myst, the ghoul who puts the bob in ookie spooky babadookie. And this is Trick or Treat, a series where I review all things horror, discuss queer themes, and decide whether or not something is a trick or a treat. Here, we aren't just giving you a summary, okay? We're breaking down homoerotic undertones, fierce fashions, goops, gags, all while trying to remain spoiler-free. And that goes for you in the comments too. But beware! Some spoilers may slip out. Today, we are discussing the latest iteration in the Ghostface killer franchise, Scream 7. Now, as a lifelong fan of the Scream series, I have been dying to cover this. I've been closely following along, and let me tell you, there has been a lot to follow, so I am eager to dive into all of this, to say the least.
Look, I gotta go.
Now, I was hired by Paramount Pictures to create a promotional piece for this project before it premiered, and even non-sponsored media discussing the film, like this, needs that disclosure still. So, now you know. Okay, girl, let's spill the tea on Scream 7. I actually didn't buy a ticket and haven't watched the movie. So today's video isn't discussing the plot or the performances, but rather breaking down the controversies around this project, why it took so long to bake, and why some series fans are boycotting the release. As many fans are aware, Scream is a series of self-awareness, media commentary, and of course, killer opening scenes.
No, the one with the guy in the white mask.
Because of its meta approach to storytelling, the franchise has been able to evolve and adapt to stay relevant over the years, with mixed success, following the original trilogy, but it's still managed to maintain one of the most passionate horror audiences around. In the most recent requels, helmed by Spyglass Media, we follow sisters Sam and Tara Carpenter, played by Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega respectively, under the direction of Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillette, who took the series to a much darker, grittier place than we had seen before. I really appreciated the new take, the intense scares, but I have to be honest, I personally prefer the more comedic, self-referential takes of the Wes Craven era. Scream 7 began work over 2 years ago, but the film saw tons of delays and changes. Pre-production was prolonged due to the largest SAG-AFTRA strike in history in the summer of 2023, and at the beginning of that, the directing duo from Scream 5 and 6 had to jump ship on 7 due to a scheduling conflict with their other film, Abigail. Then in November of that year, lead actress Melissa Barrera shared posts on her social media accounts in support of the Palestinian people amidst Israel's siege on Gaza, and in response, Spyglass Media made the decision to let Melissa go from the upcoming project. They cited a zero-tolerance policy for anti-Semitism. In response to that, and in solidarity with her co-star, Jenna Ortega announced her departure from the project the very next day. Oh my gosh, my head is spinning just saying all of that.
I'm feeling woozy here!
Okay, let's unpack this. The current iteration of this franchise that had been established by this directing duo and these two fabulous actresses are heading into Scream 7, and then suddenly none of these people are involved? So this film that had been planned now has to be scrapped because there's no realistic way that you can salvage anything together from the original ideas and have it be successful. So anyone still attached to Scream 7 needed to go back to the house and figure out what the hell was going to happen, if anything, to get this movie to the theater. And notably, now this project has this ugly stain on its press. Lead actress terminated over free speech. Lead actress terminated for voicing concerns over an act of genocide. Like, no matter how Spyglass tried to spin their side of the story, it still was going to be a horribly inappropriate decision and speaks to larger issues about censorship. And I know that this decision harmed Melissa's career, and I hate that. I hope this changes because she is an incredible actress. She's such an amazing vocalist. I want to see more of her. We loved where this storyline was going, and it's such a shame that this decision was made. But I appreciate her standing strong and using her voice to speak out on the atrocities happening to the Palestinian people, and for Jenna Ortega for moving in solidarity with her co-star. So let's jump out of the past into real time right now, because this topic is part of why this project is receiving a lot of backlash, and even longtime fans are avoiding this movie in theaters. When our voices are not being heard as loudly as where we spend our money, people are intentionally choosing to divest support for this project as a direct response to the decisions made by Spyglass Media. However, despite the boycott numbers, box office projections for this past opening weekend estimate upwards of $40 million, which would put it close to break even, since the cost to get it to open ended up being about $45 million. The increase in budget is largely due to a $500,000 rewrite, which was necessary if they had any hope of making this happen, and the return of Neve Campbell as Sidney Prescott, who rightfully negotiated a higher salary since she is the face of the franchise. Like, run Neve her check. With the return of many original cast members and the writer of the first Scream film, Kevin Williamson, now acting as the director, this version of Scream 7 hitting the theaters is banking on nostalgia since this is the 30th anniversary of the groundbreaking horror film. Jesus Christ, I am ancient. The new plot reintroduces us to Sidney Prescott, who now lives in Indiana, hey, with her daughter Tatum, who is the latest target in a chilling blast from the past. Spoilers ahead. The latest film does offer some commentary on the use of AI, deepfakes, and misinformation by leveraging society's current fears of these technologies as another weapon in the killer's arsenal. Ironically, though, the film distributor's marketing team has partnered with Meta AI to allow Meta users, so that would be anybody using Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, etc., to edit themselves into scenes from the films, which is a really cute idea if it was still being done on green screen at the mall. This has created additional backlash and confusion amidst fans who oppose the use of AI due to its destructive environmental ramifications. Now, can I say for certain that generative AI wasn't used in any of the tools creating the actual film? No, I wasn't there. But I do think it's important to distinguish what groups are making these decisions. From what we know, despite the marketing company's partnership with Meta AI, the film's creators were creating it the old-fashioned way. So even though we haven't seen this latest Scream film, let's still review it with some of the things we do here on Trick or Treat. What's the tea? The project that made it to theaters is not at all the project that began, and the cost to reinvent this film may also include the cost of bad publicity on behalf of the production company and the affiliated marketing agencies. How queer is it? Now, while this whole scandal is giving drag community Facebook drama, cancel culture, lesbians dating their ex's level of messiness, I give the whole thing a Kinsey 1. The only reason it's not a 0 is because we finally got to see Neve Campbell back into the franchise where she rightfully belongs. But queerness supports speaking up in support of others, and Spyglass Media demonstrated that they have parameters on that type of speech, and that's very unqueer of them. So, is it a trick or a treat? I know many folks want to be politically engaged and actively champion causes they believe in amidst so many awful things happening in the world. And I love that. But where we need to be cautious and mindful is virtue signaling or crucifying others instead of focusing on the big picture. That type of behavior gets into like, you're going to hell because you don't believe exactly what I believe, holier than thou, and it's 2026, okay? We're beyond that. Hearing that interim director Christopher Landon had to involve the FBI and ultimately leave the project because fans were sending death threats to him and his family over a decision that he was never involved in should be as alarming as Spyglass's censorship. That type of behavior or action, it's not activism. It's not creating positive change. It's internet violence. And honestly, having been on Drag Race now, I see that same type of energy from fans of that franchise too, and that is scarier than any horror film I've ever seen. I doubt that the actors or directors involved in this project share the views of the production company in terminating Melissa, so I do think it's okay to support and love their work while being critical of the relevant parties. Similar fan reactions have arisen around the marketing relationship with Meta AI. Now, the film itself is not championing AI. It's literally part of the horror film. It was the marketing team with the network that made the decision to partner with Meta, not the creative team or any of the actors on the project. My advice to all of us as consumers is recognizing that there's no ethical consumption under the capitalist world we live in, so make intentional choices to consume what feels right to you. And call out the institutions over the individuals. It's challenging to be a critic of AI and still use Meta products. It's challenging to be pro-Palestine and to shop anywhere in America right now because so many businesses have ties to Israel. We are all put in these uncomfortable ethical situations by just a few elite, so negotiate what works for you and know that that might be a little bit different for everyone. Because despite the controversy around this film, let me remind you that to my knowledge, I did a little bit of digging. Spyglass Media and its owners are not funding Israel's military. They're not actively supporting a genocide. That would be the American government. While Spyglass may have expressed a harmful opinion that we don't agree with, they are not the real killer in the horror film that we're all living in right now. If you have a passion around any cause, please position that energy in the direction of these larger establishments in a way that's critical but constructive, rather than hate comments or messages towards people creating art. In fact, if you're choosing to boycott Scream 7 altogether, let's take that into something actionable instead of just internet comments, right? Let's pull out our phones and donate the cost of a ticket and popcorn to the Palestinian Children's Relief Fund. Help a family in need with the link below and use your thumbs to spread some love. Easy as that. So this whole situation, scandal, reaction, internet behavior, etc., it's not the tea. I give it a big old trick. But seeing the original cast reunite and look so good, that is a treat. If you join me in donating to the PCRF, please comment below. And if you do see Scream 7, without spoilers, let me know if you thought it was a trick or a treat. Join me next time for an actual review of the new release, The Bride, hitting theaters this weekend. Until then, stay gorgeous.